by God, it cannot be lost. The difference is in the heavens, you're not given an inheritance. You're given the opportunity to then inherit it later, to get it later, but there's still a slight possibility you could lose out on that inheritance that he hasn't been giving you yet. He's given you an entrance. So those who on the earth have their inheritance, they can't lose it. That's why they're blessed. Those in the heavens are blessed because for those who entered the earth, they have to deal with sin all around them. Those who enter the heavens have a better opportunity to not be subjected to sin because all they got to do is just keep doing what they're assigned to do, and they will, in fact, experience the inheritance by continuing to bring forth the fruit yield. So it's about once God gives you an inheritance, it cannot be lost, and once God puts you in a position apart from sin, you're in a better situation to obviously continue on and experience your inheritance. That's why you're blessed in the first portion of the resurrection. And that's why he puts it there, because the fact that Satan was bound, he talks about him being unbound, loosed out later. And that's why you're blessed not to be having to worry about the effects on you. You don't have there's no effect on you, him being loosed. None. If you're an heir of the earth, he has no effect on you. He can't touch you. And if you're a person who entered the heavens and you continue to do what God tells you to do, he has no effect on you. Zero. And that's why you're blessed. So in Revelation 22:7, 2 more to go, then we'll end for today. And 22:7, he says, "And behold, I am coming speedily. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book." That means he who guards them. So there when he says guards the words of the book, meaning obviously you have to make sure that you keep it in mind all the time. Keep the Lord in your mind and his words in your mind. Always guard these things. And so because in other words, your mindset is he's coming soon. So if you know he's coming soon, then you're blessed if you continue to guard in your mind the words of this book, right? That's what he's talking about. So then in the last blessing he gives in verse 14, same chapter, blessed are those who wash their robes, and that phrasing is not correct. On the left side of the margin, it's blessed are those who are doing those doing the commandments of him, so that they shall have the authority or the exousia upon their epi, not upon the word of the life, the tree of life, and by enter the gates of the city. So in other words, if you continue to do what you're supposed to do, you continue to have a lifestyle that's pleasing to God, you will then inherit the opportunity to dwell in the city with him. So that's the blessing. So why does he say that? In verse 7, he says about keeping the words of the book, because he says you're blessed, he's coming quickly, because it's, again, a takeaway of everything that's just been said is at the end of the whole day 8 and day 9 is now coming into view in Revelation 22. So he's saying in context, hey, with all that just got being said, behold, I come quickly. It's all going to start to unfold. You're best suited if you would just guard and watch in your mind the prophecy of this book. And then in verse 14, he goes on to say, oh, and by the way, in lieu of me saying to you, I'm coming speedily to give each one according to his works. In verse 12, in verse 14, you want to make sure your works are the works that are ongoingly a lifestyle habit that you want to obey God. It's a lifestyle habit for you in such a way that that's what you know is the only way to please God. In such a way that you know the only way to please God is the only way possible to inherit the fullest blessing of abiding with him in the heavenly city. There's no other way to abide with him in the heavenly city unless you first please him. There's no way to please him unless you ongoingly have a lifestyle wanting to obey him. So that's why he says that in verse 14 of chapter 22, because it's at the end of everything he has said in lieu of what he just mentioned about coming speedily twice now in verse 7 and verse 12. But this time in verse 12 he says, I'm going to give rewards according to your merits. So verse 14 he specifies what those merits need to be if you want to have the pleasingness to him, and then you want the benefit to then be realized and a blessing from him. Then you got to do something. So hope that answers your question, Sister Vicky, but I don't have time I have no time for Sheila's and Pam's today. What I will do is I will answer those again. I'll answer those on a Q&A later, but we got to cut short because of the Mother's Day events that are happening. So that answers your questions. Is Vicky online, babe?
She is.
Okay, I know I talked rather fast today. I'm pretty sure I did, matter of fact. So hopefully I answered the questions.
Yes.
What's that?
She said yes.
Yeah, I was going all over the place. Yeah, it's because I'm looking at the time and I keep on being sensitive to the Mother's Day thing, and I talked way fast than I should have. So what I'll do is I will go over this again. I'm going to have to. I talked way too fast. Did you catch everything I was saying? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revelation 11,
It's just a lot of, there's a lot of information, and there's so much, and I kept clock watching, so I talked faster than I needed to, and I apologize for that. I still haven't gotten to Pam's and Sheila's questions, which are also things that I've acknowledged I got to get to, and I got them already answered. I just haven't got a chance to tell you those yet. So I apologize in advance for me going fast. I find myself going rather quickly. I'm out of sorts with the time frame. I'm trying to be sensitive to Mother's Day. So let's just end and pray, and we'll continue to go over this again. I promise you won't just forget about it. And hopefully with the recording, it can be reheard again. And thanks for your patience and all of that. And sorry for my quickness. So let's just pray. So Father, thank you for this time we've had together, and for your will, your peace, your strength, your guidance, and help us to understand. Help me to slow down and the presentation of your truth, and how you use me, and you use us all to hear from you, to know you and to understand you, and to see your word for what it is and what you say to us. Thank you, and just can't say thank you enough for what you do, and continue to guide us and love us and give us peace in this time. We thank you for who you are and what you continue to be, and unveil yourself to us and in our soon coming bridegroom. Just thank you, and we love you, Lord, and thank you for just continuing to help us to show our love to you by how we live our lives in obedience, by continuing to want to be pleasing to you, to be in the best position to then hear you say to us that we can live and dwell with you and abide with you in the most endearing way. We thank you in Jesus, Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Sorry, I talked really fast today. I could tell. I don't know what got into me. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.